Welcome everybody, this is Cameron's Corner. What I wanted to discuss this time around was emission reduction. So there's going to be quite a few things actually happening up in the year. Now if you're political or not political, I'm not going to go in one way or another, but President-elect Joe Biden will re-enter the U.S. into the Paris Climate Agreement. He's already said it, his executive orders, bringing out the committee and going into it. Now, recap, this is a global pact forged 5 years ago among 200 nations to avoid the worst impacts of climate change. It's a hot topic button, everyone's pushing onto it, they're wanting to get into it. So upon rejoining, the U.S. will likely be expected to provide a climate target. Now, that is updated from the Obama administration's goal plan to reduce domestic emissions from the power and energy sector. The U.S. is the world's second largest emitter of greenhouse gases, behind China, and is seen as in a global effort to reduce the effects of climate change. Now, with that, they're looking at us to lead the pact, to push into it. So when we backed out of the Paris Accord, a lot of people were bummed out by this. More of a laissez-faire approach started happening to it. But now that we're coming back into it, the next round of UN climate talks is to take place in Glasgow, Scotland, in November 2021. Now this is going to be, countries are expected to submit new structured, new ambitious 2030 targets, and all eyes will be on the U.S. So the big thing for the oil and gas industry right now is the Trump administration now did dismantle about 70 major environmental regulations in the last 4 years. So we can only expect, if we're going into the Paris Accord, that there is going to be more push to get those back into place. The EPA is going to bolster up. There's going to be a lot of things happening at that point. With that, they're going to be forcing all the federal agencies to rethink their roles in tackling the problem, how to enforce it, how to have proper governance of it. So the EPA issued some final policies and technical rules for the oil and natural gas industry. These rules will provide significant benefit to our small and oil and natural gas producers that make up about 80% of the industry. With these rules, the EPA is restoring the rule of law, cooperating with the states, making it simpler and less burdensome for the oil and natural gas industry to comply, easing implementation, because that's the ultimate goal, is we're not trying to beat the dog out of them. So I am kind of liking that they've been working with a lot of oil and natural gas companies to come together and to figure out ways of better emission reduction technologies. So a few of these things is like reducing monitoring of leaking at gathering, boosting compressor stations from quarterly to twice a year. Improving cooperation with states by allowing industry to meet certain state requirements, to complying with the EPA requirements, removing burdens to utilize newer, more efficient emissions reduction technologies, updating the required schedule for repairing leaks to respect the realities of the oil and gas industry, such as allowing repair deferral if repair within 30 days. Changing record keeping and removing certain convoluted reporting requirements. So they are working with it, and you can kind of see it with the big major companies and the PR problem that oil and gas is having, especially when trying to meet these climate changes. They're starting to set up a lot of environmental and social and governance programs for their investors, long-term viability of their companies, how they're going to pave the way into it. Certain big companies are actually creating committees and having their own like carbon neutral programs, emission reduction initiatives, Future One Foundation. So with that, I mean, no matter what you're looking at in the environment, if there's emissions, either vented gases, burning emissions, the hazardous air pollutants, volatile organic compounds, all of those things are actually a quote that I like to repeat constantly is, if there is a waste, in which emissions are a waste, it's an inefficiency of the operation. So being an engineer myself in the Six Sigma that I'm into, that is a big push on the failure of what it is. Now, it could be complete ignorance in the fact of you don't know what you don't know, or there could be money issues behind it. So what me and my organization, Croft Production Systems, since we're trying to be the natural gas processing company, the only way you can properly do that is to actually have an understanding, know what needs to happen, what technologies are out there, what process controls, best standard practices. So we're going to be educating a lot of our clients into this. We're going to be pushing hard on the upgrades, especially the upgrades that actually help with the high emission points. So over the course of this year, if you want to be tuning back into us, we're going to be putting a lot of webinars into place. We're going to be shipping out a lot of best standard practices to our clients in newsletters, follow-ups from our sales force. So that way they can understand that, we're here for them if they have any questions, and also we can offer these products and services to, we'll get it to the best of their ability. So if you have any questions for us, please reach out to Croft Production Systems. We are trying to be the natural gas processing company, and the only way we can do that is to actually identify the issues that we need to be stepping up into. So I appreciate 2021, and I'm ready to get started.